Modern rock singing. Well, that's actually an expansive subject, and depending on how old you are, what is modern to you. But I'd like to kind of start more from the 90s and kind of work my way forward. So I want to start with Pearl Jam first. And the only reason I want to do that is because Eddie Vedder sort of coined a sound, and the sound was taken out, right? Had a really closed, rolled down R sound, right? Well, cool sound, and in fact, if you don't use that sound for a lot of modern rock stuff, you kind of sound weird. However, when you do that, I want you to understand it's very similar as closing down a vowel. So if you close down that sound that hard, you have to find a way to reopen the sound as you go up top. You go, it's too hard, right? Hey, it's much easier to have an open sound than, right? Now, there have been guys that have done it. Chris Cornell's done it. He's done an awesome job, whatever. But I'm a mere mortal. He's Chris. But at the same time, over time, that can cost you your voice because you have to use so much force and so much strength and so much power to be able to lift that kind of weight up top if you're going to close down a sound. When it's much easier to use your vowel modifications and open up that sound so that you can go up top. So it's your call on that. I want to leave you guys up to that. The next thing is that if we're talking about what little more modern singers growl and scream and all this other stuff, let me play one clip for you. Check this out. Okay, do you see how I was like, rah! I used false vocal folds to get that sound in order to be able to create that kind of distorted sound, right? Well, that's actually a trick, and I didn't use a lot of air doing that sound. I actually did it kind of safely, but that's a subject unto itself, and I've seen a lot of, Zen stuff floating around out there that's hurting a lot of people's voices because you don't really understand it. That person hasn't been singing for 30 years and understands what it's really like to maintain good vocal health. So it's dangerous to throw something out there and tell someone to do something and they don't know what the byproduct or the result of that's going to be. So be really careful, understand. In that case with the scream, I used false vocal folds. I actually am relaxing the chords. Now, check out this next clip. You don't feel a thing! Okay, so notice what I did was I actually opened up the sound, whether it's Dio or whatever, again, a Cornell or whatever. I'm opening up the sound and I'm using open throat technique to get that open sound, and my vowel mods are open. I'm not closing down the vowel sounds themselves. I'm using good open throat technique, and I'm compressing. Glottal compression. I'm using that hyperglottal compression in order to be able to relax to that sound, and the strength comes from the engine that drives my car, which is the core of my abdomen, instead of it going and the engine being in my throat, which will destroy me over time. All right, now let's continue. There's two more things I want to discuss about this. That is that we build up to these sounds. We just don't go straight to them. So if you guys are going to go straight to a big, heavy, distorted sound, I can't help you. No one can. You're on your own. If you're willing to take the time and maturate this over time, you'll see the results that I'm talking about, and they will really, truly work for you. The second or last thing again is I want to remind us, it's a checkpoint, and I love these checkpoints, is that once we do this sound, we always come back and clean up the voice and train with a clean sound so that we can get all that clean resiliency back in the chord so that we're not forever sentencing ourselves to a hyper distorted sound, and that we always have to use distortion to get to certain notes and so forth. All right, let's continue.